It's a long way to the top. If you want to rock and roll, you want to rock and roll? Driving on the highway, going to a soul. Stopping on the byway, playing rock and roll. Getting round, getting stoned, getting beat up, getting bone, getting high, getting shook. I'll show you folks, it's harder than it looks. It's a long way to the top if you wanna rock and roll. It's a long way to the top if you wanna rock and roll. It's either doing one night stands, driving a rock and roll band. It's a long way to the top if you wanna rock and roll.
Good evening, race fans. I'm your host, Caden Reif, and we're back here from the 2006 season of the NASCAR Coca-Cola Cup Series, ready to get underway here from Daytona for the 48th annual Daytona 500. The biggest stage right at the start of the season here tonight as we take you for some plate racing here from the high banks at Daytona Beach, Florida. Take a look at your starting lineup for today's race. The two pole sitters on the inside and outside both made it through the doles and survived. It'll be Jeff Gordon, the 24 car, starting from first place tonight with Robbie Gordon on his outside. The two Gordons on the front row for today's race. Looking down the rest of the starting lineup for your race today, as Carl Edwards and Jason Leffler, your dual winners, will be third and fourth in today's race. Down the rest of the lineup, as Dale Earnhardt Jr. will be in the fifth position in the 88 car for Robert Yates Racing, and Kevin Harvick, another new team driver, he'll be in sixth in the 20 for Joe Gibbs Racing. Chase Montgomery doing some injury fill-in, that'd be Johnny Sauter in that car, but it'll be Montgomery in the 68 in P7. Sterling Marlin will start from 8th in the 22, and his teammate Wimmer a position behind in 9th. 10th place goes to Jeff Green, a nice run for Hall of Fame Racing in the 96 car. They'll be in P10. Terry Labonte's new upstart team, Labonte Incorporated, will be in 11th. P12 goes to Jeremy Mayfield in the 26 car. Another move for him as he moves over. That'll be Haas Carter that he's driving for in the 26 machine HCR, and Todd Bodine, the previous driver of that car, will be in 13th in the 77. Christian Elder will start from 14th position. Martin Truex Jr., the rookie in the 8 for Richard Childress, he'll be 15th, and John Wood will be in P16. Ricky Rudd for Andy Peachy Racing will be in the 17th position, and Ricky Hendrick in the 5 will be in the 18th spot. Kurt Busch in the 01, he'll be in P19, and 20th goes to Hank Parker Jr. in the Hendrick McClure 4. Kyle Busch will be in 21st. Moving over to the 43, and Scott Riggs another season in the 57, he'll be 22nd. Tony Stewart, last year's Cup champion, he'll be starting from 23rd for Ganassi in the 42, and Matt Kenseth in 24th. Jean Andretti in the 21 car, that'll be P25 for him, and Elliott Sadler will be in the 26th position. 27th goes to Brian Vickers in the 44, that's the Bud Shootout winner, and Eric Norris will be in 28th in the 51 car. 29th, Stanton Barrett the 95, and Jamie McMurray will be in 30th, sporting new colors, Gillette on the hood of that 40 car. Ryan McGlynn for his own team will be in 31st in the 07, and Regan Smith, the rookie, in 32nd for Penske. In the 2-car, Casey Kane will be in 33rd. That's last year's championship runner-up. 34th will be Jeff Burton in the 99. 35th place goes to Casey Atwood, and Ryan Newman in the 12 will be 36th. Jack Sprague in the 55 for Hendrick this year full-time. He'll be in 37th position. Mike Bliss another year with Gibbs. He'll be 38th. Greg Biffle starts from 39th position. Jimmy Johnson in his return, a bit of a poor qualifying, and he will be in 40th after the run in the duels. 41st goes to Mark Martin, his final full-time Cup season in the 28 car for Yates, and Bobby Labonte in the 18 won the previous 2 Daytona 500 poles in a row, but we'll start from dead last here today. 42 cars here at Daytona. As always, we take you here to the track for the most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines!
42 stock cars roar to life here from Daytona, and as always, a lot to talk about prior to the 500 and going over quite a lot in the pre-race lineup here tonight. But multiple things to talk about going into today's race. It'll be a very long race and a lot to play for. 80 laps is going to be your race length tonight. We got a long, long way to go here today. And there was a crashless duels on Thursday leading up to this weekend, but on the Saturday GNS race, we saw a big one within the final 10 laps during that race that took out nearly 30 cars in that wreck. Also, a lot of funky front runners going into this one, as we've seen a lot of different drivers making some fresh appearances at the front. Of course, Jason Leffler, a dual winner, he starts in 4th, and Chase Montgomery, a good qualifying to finish and start in 7th down the rest of the lineup. And just a moment here. Apologies for the pause there, but we'll get right back to it here from Daytona. So, going back over the things that we're talking about prior to this race, of course, the crashless duels and the big one in GNS. A lot of cars out in that one. Meanwhile, the funky front runners, as we mentioned, a lot to go over with them, and a lot of new guys up at the front of the field, and some surprising head turners going into this one. But nonetheless, it is going to be a long race here today, 80 laps, and a pit window is expected to be around the halfway mark. We'll see if some drivers end up pitting before halfway and how that ends up going. But without further ado, it's time to get underway here from Daytona with Jeff Gordon and Robbie Gordon to lead the field to the green flag here tonight. 80 laps, and we are set to roll here from the 48th Daytona 500. Pace car is in, and we are underway here from Daytona Beach. Opening lap completed here at Daytona. Jeff Gordon from the pole leads lap number 1 here at the Daytona International Speedway, racing towards turn 1, mostly double file now. as the whole field settles in for a long one here in Daytona. It is going to be him and Dale Jr. That 88 car looking for the lead early here, as Dale Jr. underneath. He's got his Alliance teammate in the form of the 68 right behind him. Down the back stretch, Chevrolets versus Fords. Although it is a Ford behind the 24 on the outer line. That is going to be Carl Edwards, the dual winner, trailing the 24. And how about Chase Montgomery on the bottom, taking it 3 wide on the 88 for the race lead early. Trying to fight with him for that front-running position as they race off of turn number 4 now. And he himself is going to get taken 3 wide. At the line, the 68 did have the lead. It's a lap lead for Chase Montgomery. That's Jeff Green, the 96 on the bottom. A lot of 3 wide up front early here, as it is going to be the Hall of Fame racing car now taking the early race lead. Everybody's still under wraps as we head down the backstretch. The new upstarts up front early, 96 and 14 on the bottom lane, picking up spots to start this race off. Down 3, 3, and 4 this time, as Jeff Green still holds the race lead. Couple of Pontiacs, in fact 3 of them in a row, leading this field off of turn 4. 77 to Todd Bodine for Jasper, right back there in line, and the rookie Truex on the bottom as well in the 8. Gonna pick up the inside line, looking for third now as they head off of the tri-oval and towards turn 1 again. Early pickings here, 3 wide for second behind the 2 race leaders as the Pontiacs pull out a little bit of a gap in this race lead. 3 of them in a row up front. If only for a moment, Kurt Busch trying to pick up some spots on that inner line in the 01. Lot of pushing and shoving. Gonna see 4 wide maybe in the middle of the pack. Kyle Busch sorts it out in front of Tony Stewart. That was a bit of contact with him and Robbie Gordon. Could have spelled disaster in the front of the field, but everybody sorts it out. Down the front stretch, it's now Terry Labonte in the lead. If only for a moment, took his Alliance teammate. That's the 33 of Ricky Rudd right behind him, the 2 Pontiacs. 14's got the lead, though, as they head down into turn number 1 this time, and now it's going to be Kurt Busch trying to take the first spot. A lot of shiftings early. It's the 2 Busch brothers and the Dodges leading the field now as they head down the backstretch. Kurt trying to block Kyle. Defending Cup champion Tony Stewart down there on the bottom, trying to get around the 43. And has a lane to the low line. A lot of contact in the back there. That was the 07 and 57 that got together in the middle of the pack back there. But everybody sorts it out, and we are still under green and calm conditions, although a lot of 3 wide in the middle of the pack. Here's Tony Stewart on his teammate for the race lead. Takes John Andretti in the 21 with him, side by side for first, and Stewart has the lead now off of turn 2. Down the front stretch we go, and it'll be Andretti on the bottom now. So many moves being made early and so little time to talk about it. 21 now to first place as we leave turn number 4. Eric Norris in the 51 right on the back bumper, and he now goes to the inside for the lead, although Andretti will have the nod at the stripe by a smidge. And now here comes Casey Kane on the bottom to make it 3 wide for the lead again. If only for a moment, Andretti all by himself on that outside line right now. Cool yard work outside, by the way. 38 and 51 side by side for the lead down the backstretch, as Kane just about stays in front of Atwood in the 30, who's right behind him. Jack Sprague and the Hendrick 55 just in line behind these two. Greg Biffle and Jimmy Johnson trailing as well. Mark Martin, who started way in the back of the field, as well as Bobby Labonte, who was dead last. A little bit of ways back there on the inside line as well. Single file by the top 5, if only for a moment. We'll see how long this lasts. Atwood trying to duck underneath Kane for the lead. Couldn't quite get the nose under him. Jimmy Johnson is the odd one out as they head through turns 1 and 2. And off of 2 now, as Kane still holding the lead. Atwood going to get aggressive. Down to the bottom lane, didn't get anybody with him, but he's going to have enough of a run to stay on the inside and have the advantageous line into turn 3. Couple of mismatches here. Ford, Chevy, Chevy, Ford, outside and inside, but it'll be Casey Atwood, the leader at the line this time. Oh, and a lot of contact in the back of the field. Drivers are getting squirrely. 1595 got tagged, and they're wrecking in the back. Caution flag is out. Kenseth around. Jeff Green involved in it. Scott Riggs, Chase Montgomery, and others. Christian Elder, the Haas Zero car, is in it. 26 and 8 involved as well, and we are under caution for the first time here from Daytona. Racing back to the caution flag as Greg Biffle in the 16 will just about have that lead. And we are under yellow here from Daytona for the first time today. Taking lap number 10 as we are under caution. And we're going to look back at that one in just a little second here. That one bringing out the first yellow of today's race. A lot of contact in the back there, looking like somebody got a big piece of the wall, everybody jumping to get out of the way, and they got turned around on the outside. I was expecting the 95 to slip up into traffic. He got turned way down the racetrack. We're looking like the 40 got driven into the wall there. Always hard to see here, but yeah, Kyle Busch driving up on the back bumper of the 40. McMurray gets a bit of the piece of the wall, as well as that would be the 33 of Ricky Rudd got a big piece. Everybody kind of following each other into the fence. He gets into the 77. That sends the 95 way down the track, but the contact was back here. Ooh, yeah. See, the 96 of Jeff Green got up and into the wall, and right back down the racetrack into the 0, 68, 17, 26, and 8, a big part of it as well. Somehow everybody else got it sorted out up here. The 95, that'd be Stanton Barrett, somehow found an opening back onto the racetrack and didn't collect anybody else. That is a miraculous collection there. But a handful of cars around and into the wall in the back. 17, 68, and 96. See the 0, 57, 26, and 8 all involved in that one. And a couple of others who got a big piece of the wall as well. The 33 was in the fence pretty hard there. Got into the 77 of Bodine. We are under caution now, as Greg Biffle will have the early lead. Everybody rejoining the pack. We'll see if any of those guys are going to fail to meet minimum speed after those accidents and collisions in the back. Greg Biffle to lead the field here will take us down for a pit stop here, I believe. It'll be lap number 10 coming to lap 11 here. Looking like some might stay, we'll see. Atwood looking like he's going to stay on the racetrack, as is the 48 of Jimmy Johnson. But 16 and 18 lead the field down pit road, as the majority of everybody's going to come in here. Just a couple of race cars still on the track. 23 of Wimmer stays out as well, and Biffle and Labonte in. Fuel only. And a tight pit road to get off of. As always, the pit's a little bit of a trouble spot. Some taking tires, some not. Saw Casey Kane, the 38, taking 2 tires, as well as the 28, his teammate Mark Martin. Kurt Busch on 2 tires as well. Bobby Labonte, well in front, wins the race off of pit road. 12, 16, 81, 55, plenty of others. His outside pole sitter Robbie Gordon into the pits as well. And everybody coming off of the pit lane on varying strategies. Ooh, seeing contact there. And more contact as Green nowhere to go. And we're seeing a lot of trouble in the pit lane now. Got to look back at this one. Yeah, looking like contact between the 26 and 77, so drivers who were already involved in that caution getting even worse parts of it as they get into each other going into the pits. Tough breaks to the back end of the field there. So we are under caution. Casey Atwood in the 30 car is back to the race lead after staying out under that yellow flag. We'll be right back here from Daytona. 30 car in first place. 3 cars stay out on the racetrack there. Bring you right back here at Daytona, looking at your order now as we are under caution and taking this restart, coming to lap number 14. It'll be Casey Atwood in the 30 car, as we just mentioned, having the race lead. Looking down the rest of this top 5, it'll be Johnson, Wimmer, Labonte, and Newman holding the top 5. Biffle, Bliss, Sprague, Vickers, and Ricky Hendrick make up your top 10. A couple of drivers who we're going to be looking out for trying to hold on to minimum speed after the collisions on both pit road and on the racetrack there in turn 1. And a handful of cars expected to be out of this race, namely the 14 and 96 probably will be having some issues here, at the very least Jeff Green. Those two got into each other in the pit lane. 77 has some damage from that as well. But pace car going to peel into pit lane. Casey Atwood in the 30 will lead us back to the green flag, and we are once again underway here from Daytona. Top 3 who stayed out were the 30, 48, and 23. All of them got away very well on that start. And everybody jumping on the opportunities to make up positions early. 12 of Newman looking low for 4th, and he is going to get that position ahead of Bobby Labonte in the 18. Jimmy Johnson throwing a big block on Scott Wimmer, and he is going to try to take away the race lead here. And will do. First start back, Jimmy Johnson to the lead here at Daytona. And he has first place. See Terry Labonte rejoining the racetrack in the 14 car there. Christian Elder in the 0 car not meeting minimum speed. A tragedy for him involved in that early accident. Not expecting the 77 to meet minimum speed either, but has a chance to get those damages fixed after he was involved in an accident on pit road. We'll be able to get some repairs on that thing. Not sure if he will meet minimum speed, but has to get out of the pack first. Riggs in the 57 trying to work on him, as well as the 17 of Matt Kenseth. And the 8 car of Martin Truex Jr. also just got back on the racetrack. So it'll be a black flag on the 77 to try and get repairs on that machine. Meanwhile, field spread out a little bit after that caution. Some drivers trailing by a little bit of a ways. Trying to find their way back up towards this pack that might get split into 2 here. About 15 to 20 cars that are in the draft of this lead pack right now. Could be more. We will see. Ryan Newman is currently your race leader. Led a couple laps in a row in the 12 car. Trying to block the 55 and 20 down the front stretch. And now it's Kevin Harvick on the bottom. The 1-2 in owner's points, 1-2 down off of turn number 2 this time. Casey Kane following the 20 of Harvick. As they head down the backstretch, approaching a quarter of this race completed. 77 of Bodine makes it into the pits here. And is away very quickly. Unsure if they actually put any repairs of any sort. Yeah, they did. Just a little bit fixed on the front of that 77 car. So, see how he goes. And where he merges here, he might be in the way of traffic, but we will see. Still Harvick your race leader right now. It's him, Kurt Busch, and Robbie Gordon at the lead of the field right now. 14 of Terry Labonte not meeting minimum speed. And I do not believe that 8 of Truex is either. He's a little closer. Round 180 is the mark to hit. But Matt Kenseth also not at minimum speed in the 17 car, so he is going to have to be pulled off the racetrack here. But it seems like Truex is. Tough break for him, though. A lap or 2 down. And what on earth has happened up here that split up these leaders who are now way in front of the field? Get a look back at this. Oh, it was the 77 leaving the pit lane right in front of the pack. So now the top 2 are completely gone. That's Robbie Gordon and Kevin Harvick while we weren't paying attention. So missed out on that. 77 got back on the racetrack right in front of everybody and split this pack apart once again. And looking like he's still struggling to meet minimum speed here. In front of the 55 and 28 at the moment and pulling them off of the pack. So that is going to be the end of the 77's day as well. NASCAR's going to call him off the racetrack. And pretty much everybody else that's still on this racetrack is looking just fine in terms of pace, but the 77 is going to be pulled off the track when possible here, still blocking the 28. But lead pack is grouped back up. Robbie Gordon and Kevin Harvick are still side by side for that race lead. As they head down the front stretch here, pack all conjoined once more. Dates back all the way to the 07. That's Ryan McGlynn, who runs 28th, so a 28-car lead pack. There's a secondary pack back here, conglomerated mostly by drivers who were damaged race cars. 68, 99 has a bit of damage, as well as the 57 and 26, who were absolutely involved in that accident, are all part of this group. John Wood leads them at the moment. Jack Sprague in the 55 has lost the pack now. Given a little bit of a benchmark on what the lap time is expected by the good teams when they're by themselves, and he's running around 183, 185. 180 is around where the back markers run when they're on their own. Saw those speeds in the duels on Thursday by drivers who had lost the pack on equipment speed alone. So about 180 is the minimum speed, of which Truex in the 8 car is still meeting. But he will probably be 2 laps down in a handful of laps here. Most of this lead pack still 3 wide. Carl Edwards in the 97, winner of duel number 1 on Thursday, is your race leader. Holding off a pack of hungry dogs right now, as the entirety of this lead group is all 3 wide right now. Inside line goes 97.5, 423. Seeing Hank Parker Jr. in the 4 car back there in line. So it's 23 is Scott Wimmer. 23 winner of this race 2 years ago. Here's Ricky Hendrick for the race lead now. Believe it was 2004 in which this race was won by Scott Wimmer. Yes, it was the 2004 running race number. That'd be the 44th Daytona 500 that he won in that 23 car. Into second place right now. Haven't had a lot of time to talk about storylines, but definitely one of the ones worth mentioning. Of course, Wimmer, a winner of this race in 2004. Still with Bill Davis Racing, has been the cornerstone of that team for upwards of 4 years now. Ooh, bit of contact back there. Jimmy Johnson forced down onto the apron in the 43. See if the 48 car right underneath the 43, it should be said, and he's going to gather that thing back up. A lot of drivers who have been hitting that outside wall coming out of the tri-oval. Saw someone in the fence up there. And Johnson managed to sort it back out. And get a look back at this one. Double zero car. Jason Leffler who got the fence up there. But everybody's still clean and racetrack's still green. Still Ricky Hendrick up front, but going back to that 23 car, of course. Have been looking for a way to break out. It's been a couple of years since their last victory. Scott Wimmer, a 2-time Cup winner, also has a win at Talladega in 2003. Just looking for a way to try and break out. They know how talented he is, and of course, everybody in the garage knows how talented he is. It's just a matter of trying to get your things together and sort it out, but Bill Davis, one of those teams looking for the opportunity to pounce on the switch to the Gen 5 in 2007. Everybody, of course, doing their best to try and find a way into the best cars in that regulation change. So we'll see how it goes for them, of course, but still one more year of the Gen 4 to focus on. Scott Wimmer stuck on the outside right now. Still Ricky Hendrick leading this race, has led a few laps in a row now. He's got the 40, Jamie McMurray right behind him, and it's Ryan Newman in the 12 in third. Side by side for fourth, that's between Andretti and Elliott Sadler. Lap car up the road, that's Martin Truex Jr. in the 8, just up in front of these race leaders. And McMurray's going to catch the short end of the stick here as he tried to go low on Ricky Hendrick for first, and the 5 is going to go around the outside of the 8, who is going to hold up the inside lane. And leaders are going to try to split him 3 wide, and they will. Ryan Newman goes around the outside of the 8 car. Might help these guys who were just off of this lead pack to pull back up. But Newman and Hendrick, the only 2 leaders who got straight past the 8. We'll see if Truex can hold the lead pack. If he does not, that would be the end of his race. I believe the 26 and 68 are probably going to need to be pulled off the racetrack here as well. They are struggling to meet minimum speed, even drafting with each other. So that is going to be the end of their days. Yet more cars taken out of this one. Side by side for the lead, that's Newman and Hendrick. 12 car who's led some laps today. Right underneath the 5. And through to first, he's taken Bobby Labonte in the 18 right with him. Labonte started this race in dead last here today. There's something worth noting is the 18 car of Bobby Labonte, of course. Making yet another season with Joe Gibbs as he's going for the race lead here. Starting this race from 42nd place. The previous 2 seasons, both 2004 and 3, he was the pole winner of this race. So got a lot of attention after starting on the dead end of the other side of that equation and said, you don't approach it much different. You still got a car set up for Sunday. You're looking for something to do on Sunday and try to find a way through the field, of course. Doesn't matter if you start first, doesn't matter if you start 42nd. You still got an equal chance of winning this race, he's always said, and that's what he said to pretty much all the media members who have talked to him about it this weekend. And, of course, always bright is Bobby Labonte and looking forward to the race on Sunday, and here he is in the lead of the field. So I think the things he said prior to this race were definitely correct, and despite that, he's going to be challenged for this first spot. A couple of Yates cars on the bottom. It'll be Junior and Kane on the bottom lane for first. Dale Earnhardt Jr., another driver who's made a lot of noise during speed weeks, has been up front for a lot of both the shootout, or was he even in the shootout? I don't remember. But in the duels was up front for a lot and started this race towards the front end of the field, started in P number 7. Just lost the race lead to his teammate Kane, but nonetheless has been up front for a majority of speed weeks and said it's been a really great time having a chance to be a part of this Yates organization. A change of scenery is really what the team needed, and Dale Jr. making the showing for the Yates 88 car. Has been as bright as a beacon this weekend, and another driver who's been really happy with their changes going into this season as they're going to wreck behind into the wall. Upside down is Casey Atwood in the fence, and the caution flag is back out. Kurt Busch upside down as well. Hard, vicious crash on lap number 32. Couple of flips. Atwood ends up on his wheels, Kurt Busch upside down. Big, big crash on lap number 32 as they wrecked in the back, and the caution flag is back out. Goodness gracious. Defending Cup champion Tony Stewart also with heavy damage. The 81 and 83 involved as well. Truex, the lap car, also in that accident. Hard crash. Here on lap 32. Took it right out of storytelling mode. And that will be another caution, looking like it was 4 wide here as Kurt Busch was getting very aggressive here all the way back in turn 1 to take it 4 wide on the 30 and 83. And they held that 4 wide for quite a long time, made contact with Greg Biffle there in the middle of the backstretch, and then looking like they ran out of room in turn 3 here. Yeah, just went up. Atwood not cutting him a whole lot of slack. Guess they were upset with each other and straight into the wall. Atwood does a kickflip up on the fence. And Truex into the back of the 42. Nowhere for him and McGlynn to go. Yeah, Atwood straight up and over, sandwiched into the wall. And yeah, Kurt Busch getting help from his teammate Tony Stewart, as well as the 8 car of Truex Jr., who thought he could find a lane through on the bottom, couldn't slow it up in time and straight into the back. And the 07, a hard hit as well. Everybody okay, but a hard accident. And yeah, all these guys out of their race cars. Always good to see, but Kurt Busch ended up upside down, so a couple of flips in the same crash. And Casey Atwood, who was having himself a pretty good opening race to the Daytona 500, goes up and over. Of course, as does Kurt Busch. One of last year's championship contenders goes up for a wild ride. That was a big, big crash to bring out another caution. Second yellow flag of the day. And a big, big wreck there in turn number 3. Takes a bunch more of them out of it. just prior to halfway. It'll be the 38 of Casey Kane who's got the race lead here, and he will lead everybody down pit road this time. Be tires for some, none for others. Casey Kane on left side's only Regan Smith in the 2. The rookie just took no tires up in front of the 38, who is slowly migrating his way out of the pits. And a race off of pit road is going to be won by that 2 car, Regan Smith, the rookie for Penske. Ran a portion of the 2004 season in the 2 car, but this will be his first full planned campaign running this season for Penske Racing in the 2 car. He's got the lead now, and we are under caution for the second time here today. We'll take you to intermission and be right back. It'll be Regan Smith in the lead here from Daytona. Back from intermission here at Daytona, taking a look at this top 5 and 10 on the restart. Regan Smith in the 2 car. Going to be your race leader coming back to this restart after taking no tires and taking the lead off the pit road. It'll be Casey Kane in 2nd. Jason Leffler running in the 3rd position in the 00. John Andretti 4th. And Jimmy Johnson rounding out the top 5. It'll be Junior Labonte, Vickers, Busch, and Robbie Gordon. Your top 10. Don't believe anybody. The only car involved in that accident that stayed in the race will be the 20 of Kevin Harvick, coming back to this start. See if he's got enough speed to stay on the racetrack here. Lap number 37 on the restart is Regan Smith into the restart box, and we are back green. Top 2 get away well on the start as we head towards turn 1 for the first time again. Just 28 cars left in this race, and there is nothing left in that 20 car, I'm going to tell you that. Through turns 1 and 2. Casey Kane, the race leader, off of 2, just past Regan Smith for the race lead. He's taking Jason Leffler with him, but the 00 is going to look to take the lead on the inside. Still not quite even halfway in this race yet. Been live for almost 45 minutes. Leffler's got first, coming off of turn 2. Couple of lead changes in the span of 1 lap. And the 00 is going to have the lead at the line. Dual winner on Thursday. Him and Carl Edwards, those two will dual winners side by side by Earnhardt and Johnson. Here comes the 88 to try to retake the race lead. Side by side for first as they head through turns 1 and 2. Junior trying to figure out which lane to block. Here comes Vickers on the bottom. Last year's Rookie of the Year winner to the inside for the race lead. And now he's got first. Kyle Busch in the 43 looking to take away the first spot. Vickers trying to block, couldn't do it. He's got the lead at the stripe, but it'll be the 43 on the inside for first now. .33 of Rudd dropping off of the pack, looking like that's going to be the last car that can't stay with these leaders. Well, that could change. We'll see if the 57, 6, and 99 can do so. Down through 3 and 4. 43 of Kyle Busch now has the first position as they leave the corner. Robbie Gordon trying to stick the nose underneath for first. And now it's going to be him to the inside for the race lead. But Ryan Newman's going to take it 3 wide into turn number 1 this time. Kyle Busch ends up the odd one out on the outside line. 12 and 31 down the front stretch down the back stretch, excuse me, side by side for the race lead. Greg Biffle following the 12. Now he's going to try to take it to the inside for first. Playing merry-go-round for first place. Here's the 16 and 5 on the bottom this time. Coming up on the line here, 33 car is going to be the last DQ, I believe, at the line halfway in this race. 40 laps to go here from Daytona. Greg Biffle in the 16 in first, but he's got Ricky Hendrick on the inside now. And they are continuing to shuffle here at the front. And now it's Scott Wimmer to the inside. We've seen 2 or 3 lead changes per lap for the last 3 or 4 laps since the restart. Now it's the 23, leaving turn 4 this time. He goes up the racetrack, and now it's Bobby Labonte to the inside. 3 deep at the back end of the field. Robbie Gordon got a good piece of the fence that time, but keeps it out of harm's way. Might we see a third wreck later in this race? Down the backstretch, 18 with first. Comfortably so this time. McMurray on the inside in the 40 trying to take second from Wimmer. Did get the nose underneath. Jeff Gordon trying to take it 3, couldn't do it. 3 deep in the back end of the field as they head out of turn 4 this time. Still the 18 in first off of turn 4. He's got cover to the bottom and a healthy gap to the 40 car on the inside who's trying to make a run at him. Car's in the wall again. And now 3 wide for second right behind the 18. Here comes Jeff Gordon, the pole sitter in the 24, looking to the bottom for second place. He's got the 95 Stanton Barrett in line behind him. Going to the middle lane to try to take the better run from the engine of the 40, and now following the 18 of Labonte for the lead. 95 all the way at the bottom trying to take third place. Edwards, Parker Jr. in line behind him. And the 97 and 4 are going to get underneath the 95. We've always seen drivers when 3 wide have trouble with that outside line and keeping it out of the wall at this racetrack in the past, but seen a lot more of a trouble with that outside wall, especially out of the tri-oval in this race specifically. It was the cause of the accident in yesterday's Busch race as well that ended the day of half of the field at the end of that race. So we've seen a lot of trouble with that outside wall this weekend. Didn't see a whole lot of problems there in the duels. Did see it maybe once, but it didn't result in a caution. But people have been getting that wall more today than they have pretty much any time out at this racetrack. Here's that run by Hank Parker Jr. pulling up to third place behind his Alliance teammate in the 24 car. Up in line with these two juggernauts who are leading this race. Gordon tried to duck underneath with a surprise move on the 18. Labonte covered it nicely. Still the 18 out front, who's led a handful of laps consecutively now. Field stringing out a little bit. Here's Jeff Gordon for first. Jimmy Johnson, him and Jimmy Johnson leave Parker Jr. out. 24 and 48. Duck to the bottom. Ricky Hendrick turn around in front of the field. Wrecking in turn number 3. Leffler involved in it. 12 and 2 are in that as well. Stanton Barrett up and into the fence. 3 Hendrick cars involved in it. Another accident, and Jeff Gordon has the lead at the line while all of his and Jimmy Johnson's teammates wreck behind in turn number 3, and we're under caution again. Ricky Hendrick turned around in front of the field, and we are under yellow. Get a look back at this one as Hendrick got junked there. Looking like 4 wide was the issue here once again. Brian Vickers maybe getting a little aggressive here on the 22. 22 slipping up the racetrack a little bit, opened the door for him, getting into the 5 a little bit. And just not enough room to work with. Thinking the 99 of Jeff Burton maybe scaring the 5 down the racetrack a little bit, and not enough room to work with. And Hendrick around right into his 2 teammates. Leffler involved in it as well. Looks like the 2 got away with nothing more than trading paint there. With the back end of the 5. What an avoidance by the 95 car as well. Stanton Barrett didn't really get much more than the fence there, if that. Right along board with him. And man, did he just miss that or what? Same with the 21 car of John Andretti, who was a lot faster through that accident, very nearly got a big piece of the back bumper of the 00, but managed to get around the crash. We're under caution again. Everybody in the pit lane once more. Winner off of pit road, Jimmy Johnson in the Jesus Christ, my words. 48 car, it'll be the 4 that I had in my mind there. That's in second place, right behind him, and we're under caution once again. 3 cautions in this race. Be right back here from Daytona. Back from intermission here once again, taking a look at your top 5 and 10. Yet more cars out of this race. Jimmy Johnson, the 48, will be your race leader. It'll be Parker Jr., Bobby Labonte, John Wood, and Jeff Gordon, your top 5. And then the top 10 goes Burton, Edwards, Riggs, Jr., and Marlin. All still in this race. A lot of Roush cars and a lot of Fords up at the front of this field. But a couple of the Hendrick garage to lead the field back to the green here. Just 23 cars left in this race as the pace car peels off, and we are back underway. Good start by Johnson. Jumped away well. 4 car Caught sleeping a little bit, but Bobby Labonte not really able to find too much of a lane to try to get around him. And looks into turn 1, but to no avail. He stays in line with Parker Jr. Top 10, mostly still single file. Sterling Marlin was missing the back end of his race car. Had damage from earlier incidents. At least I believe it was, yes. Leffler's still in the race, but will probably not be reaching minimum speed here. We'll give him at least a little bit of time, but doubt he's going to get up to speed. Jimmie Johnson still the leader off of turn number 4. Field mostly single file as they head towards the start-finish line. 24 of Jeff Gordon looking to join his teammates up front. Jeff Burton and Carl Edwards tried to spoil that party. Or excuse me, that'd be the 38. Actually, no, 97 is in line there. Excuse me, 38 is just behind them. Down the backstretch now. Gordon again going to duck underneath it. He's going to go underneath the 4 of Parker Jr. down the backstretch. 30 laps to go here at Daytona. And yeah, nothing doing for the 00 car here. So it'll be a double DNF for Haas, despite their stellar showing in the duels. Regan Smith has a smidge of damage on the front end. I believe some of these guys here would like to run it back to before this caution flag, because coming back to the pacing queue, they might have gotten into each other a little bit, and I think they actually got into each other into the pits here. Yes, they did. So yeah, all these guys who are in the back kind of tailbacked each other, specifically the 12 and 2. So probably have a little bit of damage on their race cars, which is resulting in some lack of speed. So we might see some more DQs on minimum speed, but yeah, Regan Smith struggling to stay with the pack here. A lot of these guys in the back end who are struggling just a bit to keep up, and this race's competitive cars continue to dwindle. Nonetheless, it is still Jimmie Johnson out front. Carl Edwards and John Wood, the two teammates, are right behind him, as well as Greg Biffle, who makes it a 3rd in line, although the 23 of Scott Wimmer just ducked underneath him for 4th. Starting to lose some cars here. 43 a bit of a ways off. Mark Martin and Jamie McMurray trying to keep up, as well as Stanton Barrett. Ryan Newman and John Andretti are a little ways further back. Eric Norris is starting to back off this pack. And Regan Smith isn't having a much better time himself. Starting to drop off on pace, as is Eric Norris. Still Jimmie Johnson out front. Neither of the Roush guys able to really find anything to do with him. John Wood isn't even a part of this top 3 anymore. He got filtered up to the outside. Leaving turn 2 now. Casey Kane has been cutting through the field this last handful of laps. He now looks underneath Carl Edwards for 2nd. He's taking Robbie Gordon with him. Bud Gordon is going to try to get underneath him for 2nd on his own. Couldn't do it. Wimmer scooting underneath the 31 instead. 48-38 as they leave turn 2. Still Jimmie Johnson Led probably 5 or 6 laps in a row now. And Wimmer, who's continuing to try to cut through the field, now looks for second place. Everybody dueling behind the 48. Jimmy Johnson loving this out of his mirror in his first points race back. Really, not a lot of cars a part of this pack. It's now 12. Tentatively, as Biffle's just about holding on to the lead group, but might be about to lose them, which would make it just 11 cars in the lead pack. Eric Norris and Regan Smith all by themselves. Not particularly going fast enough to be a part of this race, but we'll give them at least enough time to get close to getting a lap before we force them off the track. Here's Wimmer for the lead. He's got help from Parker Jr. in the 4 on the bottom. '23 to first. Here's Hank Parker Jr. for the race lead. He's got help from Dale Jr. on the bottom. Couple of juniors in line down low, leaving turn 2. Wimmer outside, Parker Jr. inside. Down the backstretch, 10 cars in line. 11th car of John Wood, just a little bit of a ways off in P11 right now. And Hank Parker Jr. off of turn 4, trying to keep Dale Jr. behind him. Couldn't. Goes to block Scott Wimmer on the outside instead. He has the lead at the line. 4 cars led a lap in this race now. Two and 51. Still plenty of a ways ahead of the leaders. Over half a lap. Got a ways to work with. 88 has the lead down the backstretch, but Bobby Labonte is going to jump underneath him for the race lead. And the thing that you'd be surprised by most is the part of this story is that most of these guys who are still a part of this lead pack are all drivers you would expect to be running up front at the normal tracks. The only ones that are really any sort of surprise is the 4 car of Hank Parker Jr., who's making himself an unlikely showing. He's been great during these speed weeks and has led laps here and there. And is having a stellar showing here in the big show in the points race at Daytona. The secondary pack just a handful of miles an hour slower than the leaders, needing a caution to get back into this race. It's just 11 cars for the race win here at the moment. Bobby Labonte, the leader right now. Another one of these drivers who's already led consecutive laps today will do so again if he can hold off Carl Edwards coming back to the line, in which this time we will be 3/4 through the race. It'll be 20 laps to go here in the 2006 Daytona 500. Labonte, Edwards, Gordon, Johnson, Kane, your top 5 at the line. Robbie Gordon ducks underneath the 97 for second. He'll take Casey Kane with him in the 38. Down the backstretch, Casey Kane trying to get underneath Robbie Gordon for second. Gordon tried to block him, couldn't get the back bumper in front of the front bumper, the 38. Still side by side. Bobby Labonte still in the lead, loving the side-by-side battles for second, doing a lot of what Johnson did a handful of laps ago, and what he did earlier in the race. 3 wide in the middle of the pack. The 48 car right in the middle of that mix. $18.38. Here comes Scott Wimmer for second once again. Down the backstretch they go. Parker Jr. almost took it 3 wide for second place, but thought better of it, trying to stay patient at the moment. Still a lot of race left. Leaving turn 4. Big run by the 23. Does he take it anywhere? He does. Down to the inside for the race lead. Parker Jr. got filtered up by Jeff Burton in the 99. Robbie Gordon got a piece of the fence there. Still a clean track ahead. Norris and Regan Smith a bit of a ways up there in turn 4 right now. Wimmer the leader down the backstretch. Here comes Jeff Burton on the bottom to challenge the 23, and he does get underneath with help from his teammate Wood, and then on the 4 and the Thorndale Jr. Burton's got the lead now. Big run on the outside, pulling back up, but advantageous line to the 99. Jeff Burton, P1 off of turn 2. See which lane he blocks right now. Thinking teamwork is out the window, but maybe not. Still in front of the 6 of Wood as they head down the backstretch. 23 pulled back up to his outside. Got 3/4 of the way clear into turn 3. Outer line with a bigger head of steam right now. Off of turn 4 now. Scott Wimmer with the run on the outside. He has the lead at the line. Can he clear him? Not quite. But this is a battle now. Wimmer on the outside, Burton on the inside. The 23 leading that top side beautifully at the moment. Couple of teammates on the bottom still working together. Wimmer trying to get help from Labonte on the outside. Still side by side. With the 23 nosing ahead just a bit, but less so than the last lap. Off of 4. Logjam by the top 11 with 15 laps to go now. Jeff Burton the leader at the line that time. Wimmer still not clear on the outside. Believe it's about time to pull these two off the track. Norris comes in that time. Regan Smith will be in the next. Down the front stretch, still side by side. Wimmer a much better 3 and 4 that time. Down to the line, he has the lead by a smidge. Still, what a battle it has been between these leaders. Did he get clear? No, he did not. Still door-to-door for the race lead. Can anybody break this stalemate? Three Fords on the bottom, a mismatch of Dodges and Chevys on the top. Wimmer ahead by a half a car length into turn 3 that time. Wimmer ahead by an air dam at the stripe. John Wood has had enough of the teamwork and takes it 3 wide for the lead into turn 1 that time. 3 deep down the backstretch now. Who's got the better race car? Scott Wimmer got clear of the 99 on the outside into turn 3. Does he have what it takes to work with John Wood now on the inside, who is now the race leader on the bottom? Wimmer still trying to lead. Had the lead at the line. How has he been working this outside as well as he has? almost got clear into turn one. Still side by side and nose to nose for first. Even after the 3 wide, we are still all double file and equal on the 2 lines. Wimmer with a huge run towards 3. He was clear, if only for a moment, but Wood pulls back to the inside. Still 2 Fords on the bottom off of turn number 4 this time. Wimmer pulling ahead. And heading into turn 1 this time, Scott Wimmer clear for the race lead on the outside line as they go 3 wide by 3 Fords into turn 1. What a run on the outer line by Scott Wimmer. He knows how to get it done on this racetrack, and he's got the lead. We'll be taking 10 to go this time by. Three deep behind the 23 car. Everybody wants to win this race. 10 laps to go from the 48th Daytona 500 with Scott Wimmer leading this race. Trying to block the pole sitter of Jeff Gordon for first. He does. 24 up to the top of the racetrack. Here comes Carl Edwards now. Edwards to the top of the hill. That opens the door for Robbie Gordon on the bottom. 23 back down to block him. What a drive by Scott Wimmer late in this race, but there are so many laps left. He blocks Robbie Gordon to the outside to open the door for Jimmy Johnson on the inside line. 9 laps to go. Can't block the 48. Here comes Jimmy Johnson. He's got Kane behind him. Down the backstretch they go as the 48 and 23 side by side for first and second. Eight to go at the line. Johnson leaving the bottom open, but Kane couldn't get there. It's now 8 laps to go. The top 2 pulling away just a tiny little bit. Kane stays clear into turn 1. Out of 2 down the backstretch. Can Kane jump low? He does, down the backstretch. It'll be 4 on the bottom. Maybe not. Parker Jr. stays in line with Burton, trying to find a way through. Now gets underneath the 99. Kane on the bottom, Johnson on the top. Side by side for the lead as they head down the front stretch. Parker Jr. nearly took it 3 wide for the lead. 7 laps to go. Johnson with the lead by a skosh at the stripe. 3 wide for the lead. Parker Jr. in the 4 on the bottom. Here comes Robbie Gordon down low now. Three wide deeper in the pack. It's the 31 and 4 for the lead. He's taken John Wood with him on the bottom lane. Jeff Gordon on the bottom as well. Still, this group of 11 for the race win. Wood trying to get underneath the 31. He does. 31, 6, 24. Into turn number 1 this time. John Wood now has the race lead. Everybody wanting this win. Gordon leaves the bottom open for Bobby Labonte now as they head down the backstretch. Wood forced to block the bottom. 24, 31 up top, 6 down low. Nobody sticking in line. Second year 6 car driver John Wood has the lead. It is now 5 laps left. Labonte to the middle. That opens the door for Wood's teammate Edwards on the bottom. But Dale Jr. takes him 3 wide for second place. Wood to the top with his teammate. Here comes Dale Jr. on the bottom lane. With this aggression, you'd imagine there's still 43 cars left in this top group, but it's just 11 drivers still for the win. 3 wide for the top spot again as Johnson gets to the bottom. 4 laps to go here. It's Johnson and Kane again. Top 4 single file. Headed out of turn 4 this time. Now 3 laps to go in this race. Robbie Gordon underneath of the 4 of Hank Parker Jr. for third. Kane trying to get back at Johnson for the lead. Robbie Gordon gets underneath Kane for second. Johnson is not the car you want to leave out front. Jeff Gordon getting underneath Robbie Gordon and taking it 3 wide to help out his teammate. Coming back to the stripe this time, it'll be 2 laps to go from the Daytona 500. Bobby Labonte now underneath the 24 for P2. They are just letting Johnson walk away with this thing. But Labonte has a run. He jumps underneath down the back stretch. From dead last on the starting grid, trying to take the lead, coming to the white flag. Burton's got his teammate Edwards, but the 97 jumps underneath the 99 for second. Teamwork's out the window. Last lap at Daytona. Can Labonte hold everybody off? Parker Jr. almost got underneath Edwards for second. Down the back stretch, half a lap to go. Does Edwards have anything for Labonte? Down towards turn 3 for the final time. Edwards stays in line. The top 3 are single file through 3 and 4 for the final time. This will be the race to the checkered flag. Off of turn 4, 42nd of first. Can Labonte hold the lead? Down to the line. He did it. Last to first, the 18 wins the Daytona 500. What a race from Bobby Labonte to win it. Can you believe it? From 42nd place on the starting grid, the 18 car starts it off with a win here at Daytona, and he is your Daytona 500 champion of 2006. What a race here today. His second career Daytona 500 dating back to 2002, his last time in victory lane here today, and he wins it What a race by him, and he takes home his second Daytona 500. Held off Carl Edwards to do it, and made the move on the returning Jimmy Johnson with just 2 laps to go. He started that lap from 4th place. All the way from dead last, and starting that lap, not even 30, was 4th behind Robbie Gordon, who was on the outside, starting 2 to go. Got underneath him. Got underneath Jeff Gordon for 2nd, pulled all the way up, outdueled the Hendrick cars on his own, and then held off Roush to win it. What a win in this Daytona 500. Carl Edwards just shy. Hank Parker Jr., a fantastic speed weeks, and he will come home in 3rd. Just an unbelievable weekend. And Edwards not enough to get back past him, and he wins it. After an hour and 20 and 18 seconds, it's the 18 who wins it. Just an unbelievable and unforgettable race here today. An unforgettable race and an unforgettable victory. Bobby Labonte last to first from the 42nd starting position, winning his second Daytona 500 here in 2006, right back where he left off last year, and he takes the checkered flag home. That'll do it for coverage here from the 48th Annual Daytona 500. As always, we thank you all for watching. It had been a blast every single step of the way, and what a race all the way to the very end. And on top of that, a great winner to cap it off. We'll catch you next time. Week number 2 will be coming to you from Homestead as we take you to another Florida race for the second race of the season in just a little while. But I'm Caden Reif. It's been a pleasure to have you along the way, and we'll catch you then. Thank you for watching, and have yourselves a good one.